everyone, Christmas is just around the corner, and so it is time to get started on our projects. To get ready, I have been wanting to make some patchwork stockings for a while now, and we have this great new pattern that we have designed that offers 3 different sizes. So let me show you how to make them. So to make these stockings, no matter what size, they are all based on 5-inch squares. So depending on how many you want to make, you're going to want to grab either a charm pack or a layer cake. And I am using this adorable collection called Cozy Wonderland by Stephanie Slowinski for Fancy That Design House by Moda. It's just this great Christmas collection. You're also going to need some background fabric. That will also be cut into 5-inch squares. So if you have a pack of that, great, I just used some yardage. You're going to need some lining fabric, which will be the backing of our panels when we quilt them, as well as some fabric for your cuffs and a squaring tool of your choice. So let's go ahead and get started. I am going to make the large stocking today for you. And I do want to just let you know, depending on which one you choose, a charm pack will make either 2 large stockings, 4 of the medium, like this, or 7 of these little guys that are great for gift cards and things like that. But we're gonna focus on the big one today, so let's go ahead and move some of this out of the way so we can get started. So I have everything organized now, so let me show you how this works. We're gonna start by taking 18 is what you're gonna need of your 5-inch squares for these large stockings. So select all of those squares, pair them up with a background square of the exact same size, and we are going to be using the 4 at a time half square triangle method to make these half square triangles, which means we're going to place them right sides together, and we're going to take this to the machine and sew around all 4 sides. So let's go ahead and do that. Make sure my needle is where I want it, and then we can just zoom around all 4 sides of our 5-inch squares. We'll just pivot. Okay, so there we have sewn on all 4 sides. You can see that 1/4-inch seam. And now we are just gonna cut this corner to corner in both directions. So you wanna trim right through where those seams intersect. Not a huge deal if they're a little wonky, because we are gonna square these up. So now I can use my Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer B in this instance, because we are looking for that 3-inch measurement. And if you've never used this before, you are going to match the dashed line on the ruler with your stitch line. So I'm just going to line that up, and we are just going to trim off this little bit, just like so. And you're going to continue in this exact way, squaring up all of your half square triangles from all 18 of your sets. And then we'll press these open and we'll come back to the layout. So I'm going to take some time and get those prepped, and I'll meet you back here. All right, so once you have all of your half square triangles squared to 3 and pressed open, now we can work on our layout. There are all kinds of layout inspirations in the pattern itself for different layout ideas. So like this one you see here has these fun flying geese. We've got just kind of a broken dishes pattern, and this one that I'm going to make today is kind of a herringbone pattern. So let's start by laying out our half square triangles 4 across, just like so. And we are going to create these rows. And so here's one I've already stitched together, and I have actually completed most of this, but we will just build this all together here. And I want to point out that the top part is 4 across by 4 down, and then we add this extra row at the bottom that makes it 4 by 5 to give room for that toe of the stocking. So let's go ahead and sew these together, one after the other, and I'm going to add these to the rest of my panel here. All right, I have got this first row of 4 sewn together. Let's go ahead and press this nice and flat. And then I am going to just add it to the rest of my front panel here. So I'll attach these 2 together next and build this all the way out. I do like to take my time and make sure I'm nesting my seams at those little intersections of my half square triangles, just so everything lines up nicely. All right, and then we will just match this up with the rest of that front panel. Okay, I have that whole thing put together. Let's give it one final press. Make sure everything's going to lay nice and flat for us. There we go. All right, and so that is how it should look for you. And then we can sandwich this now with some batting and our backing fabric. And remember, whatever you put on the back is going to be the lining of your stocking. You'll see that on the inside. And so I just have this ready to go. You can use whatever method to baste you like. I really love this Quilter Select Free Fuse. So you would just sprinkle this on, iron it into place, and then do whatever quilting you like. I've gone ahead and taken care of that step. So let me pull these out here for you. And so you can see here, I just did some straight line quilting, just kind of echoing that herringbone shape. And I do want to point out, here is my front panel, just like I've shown you. And then for the back panel, I've mirrored that. So the design kind of matches, but they're mirrored so that they are kind of cohesive on the stocking itself. And so then now, once you have all of this complete, you are going to want to print out your template from the pattern, and here are the 3 sizes. You can see we're of course using this large one, and so I like to just kind of find a point that makes sense so that I can keep it as balanced as possible. And then I am going to put some pins here to pin this in place. All right, and so now I have that all pinned in place, and we can go ahead and start cutting this out. You can either trace it, or I'm just gonna grab my scissors and cut right along it. I do wanna talk just a little bit about laying this out on the templates, I'm not going to worry too much about all of these little seams matching. You'll notice on the stocking here along this seam, they're not lined up perfectly, but the overall stocking is just a beautiful result. So don't worry too much about lining this up as long as you can get your stocking shape. That's what you're looking for. So now let's go ahead and start cutting this out. And I'm just going to cut as close to that pattern as I can, because it has my seam allowance built in. And so I am just going to make my way around this one and the reverse. And when I get it all cut out, I'll take you through the next steps. All right, I have cut out my first stocking, and I did want to remind you, because you will be very sad if I don't, that when you cut out the back side, you're going to flip that template over so that it fits on here correctly, and we'll pin it again and cut out this one. All right, we have our shapes cut out now, so I can move my template off of here, and we are just going to line these up right sides together now. You can see how nicely those match up, and so now we can take this to the machine and we are going to sew a 1/4 inch seam all the way around, leaving the top open, of course, and so let's go ahead and do that. I am going to back stitch at the start and stop here. Just want to make sure things aren't shifting as I go. And these are nice gentle curves, so you can just kind of ease as you go, just adjusting as needed. Back stitching again here at the end, and we have made our way all the way around. And so now I am going to use my scissors to carefully clip some of these curves, just so when I flip it out, everything will lay really nicely. Just be really careful not to clip through your stitches. That will be a sad day. So it's specifically these kind of inside curves and the toe and heel that we are going to want to make sure we clip. Just to give it a little bit of, ability to lay nicely and turn out that curve. All right, I think that is probably good to go. So now we can turn this right sides out. This is the exciting part. I like to just run my fingers in there, make sure everything is going to lay smooth. Looks like I might have missed one little spot, so I'm going to pull this back out. This is a great time to check for that. I've got one spot where my stitches kind of popped there, so I'm just going to go over that one more time, because we don't want that to happen once we have our stocking filled with goodies. There we go. I think I caught it this time. So now we can push that back through. Much better. Beautiful. And so again, just to point out, my seams aren't matching up perfectly, and I'm not worried about it. And I think this looks really, really cute. And because we've clipped all those curves, it's all laying beautifully. And so now we can move on to our little hanging hook and our cuff. So I have that ready to go here. For our hook to start with, I just used one of the extra 5-inch squares from the pack, and we are going to cut an 1.5 inch strip by the 5 inches, just like so. And then I'm just going to press this in half, and then those sides in half again, and then top stitch to create my hook. And so that's what I've done here. I have that ready to go. And then for the cuff, you are going to cut a piece that is 8 by 17.5 inches of whatever coordinating fabric you choose. This is what I went with. And we are going to start by folding it right sides together, and we're going to stitch this short side of our rectangle with a 1/4 inch seam. So let's do that first. All right, so now we can go ahead and press this seam open just so it lays nice and flat. And so I'm going to take the time to open this up. Just like so. And then we're going to, of course, have this kind of tube shape. That's what you're looking for. And then we want to fold this in half, so that we are right sides, or wrong sides together, forgive me. Have our wrong sides out. And I'm just gonna line this up and give it a good press so that my bottom edge is creased. So again, I'm just lining up that top edge, and then I'll press it over here at the ironing board. I am now going to move my seam to the outside. I don't want that in the middle. All right. Now, did I say wrong sides of the fabric? I don't know if I told you right. Obviously, you want the pretty side of your cuff out, pressed in half, and we want the seam edge to be along one of the sides. And so now we can put all of this together. I'm going to go ahead and fold my hook in half, and I'm just going to do a little basting stitch to keep this together to make it easier. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. Just taking a tiny little seam here. And so first we are going to place that inside. We want to do hook first, and then we're going to sandwich our cuff in line with that. And so I'm just going to start by lining all this up and placing a pin through that to hold everything in place. And we want to slide this inside. And I'm just going to put a few pins in here to keep it from shifting on me. Make my way all the way around the opening of my stocking. Here we go. Probably one more will do it. All right, and so I'm going to start along this back seam where I have my hook, because I think that's where my stitches will be the most hidden. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the table from my machine here so that I can slide this under the presser foot easier. Put my foot down, and then I will take my time stitching all the way around to secure that cuff into place. I've made it all the way around. I went ahead and back stitched just so it's extra secure. And now the last step is to just fold that cuff out to cover that top edge of our stocking. And then our little hook flips up exactly like we want it. We're gonna just roll that seam until it lays nice and smooth. And ta-da, our cute little patchwork stocking is all done. I do want to mention, if these raw edges inside bother you, you could totally bind those before you add your cuff just to give it a completely finished edge. But I just think these turn out so cute. And again, the pattern includes 3 sizes. Where did I put those guys? Here they are. So we have the large that I've shown you, the medium and the small, and all kinds of layout options as well. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I can't wait to see the stockings that you stitch up. I'll see you next time. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching at home. We're so excited to be almost 1 million quilters strong here at Missouri Star. And so if you haven't already joined our family, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of all of our future tutorials, and we'll see you soon.